Hello everyone, how you going? And welcome back to Oddly Satisfying, the place that, well, there was just no two ways about it. We just have to come here to relax, just look at some oddly satisfying things, and really just marvel at the fact that even though something might be a little bit odd, it is definitely almost always satisfying to look at. But anyway, let's jump straight into it, shall we? So then, starting right off with, I snapped this pic of a subway station in Toronto. Oh, come on now, just stop it with that beautiful perspective. My goodness, obviously we have this the infinite vanishing point over there. It really is just a very beautiful photo, and I can certainly see why it would be deemed to be oddly satisfying, and also just the fact that you can see the entire kind of roof structure and how they've just managed to hold the entire tunnel up. You know, you can just see all the individual curved steel pieces that have just been bolted and riveted together, as well as all the tiles, and man, that has just been beautifully done. Because strangely enough, even though obviously the ground that we'd be standing on in terms of the yellow and the concrete, it would be flat, really it just makes the entire thing look circular somehow. But no, the more that I stare at it, I just becoming more and more entranced, and I guess that is just a perfect way to kind of just count it as being satisfying, because there is certainly no way that you'd be able to say that that isn't satisfying. Just look at it, it's like it's such a perfect image, it's incredible. And I guess considering the fact that no one is ever just going to be building one station at a time along the line, probably the entire thing just looks like this, and so you could probably just go to any station along the entire line and it's just snap a very, very different photo. I mean, maybe the kind of tires are going to be a different color, and so maybe you could just get an entire different series. One's green, one's purple, one's red, one's white. Just it doesn't even matter what it is, but I'm sure you could just get the entire just line just looking perfect. And hey, to be honest, I'm sure that there is actually just a million things like this where you're just not looking from the right perspective or in the right way or whatever it may be, you know, whether it be a building or a fountain or a park or a train station, whatever it may be, just all these industrial mixes. I'm sure you could just find photo opportunities no matter where you go, no matter where you're in the world, really. And so look, I guess in that regard, maybe it's just a little bit of an eye-opener. You know, you see this image, you go, hang on a second, what is my station or what is my train, tram, whatever you might be taking, what does it look like from, I don't know, 20 centimeters off the ground? Because it might look very similar to this. You might not have exactly the same tiles or anything, but hey, every station's going to be unique in some regard. And so in saying that, I reckon that would be a pretty cool collage to be able to get. You know, if you just got a train station pic like this from everywhere you went in the world, you just be able to so perfectly contrast them all, or really maybe they'll just all end up kind of looking the same, you know, just with tiles and trains and a curve, who knows. But either way, it definitely is just a very satisfying photo to look at. You cannot deny that fact. And hey, regardless of whether this was taken on DSLR or a phone, I mean, really, honestly, I wouldn't be able to pass a phone these days. But what can I say? Regardless of how it was taken, it is definitely a very satisfying photo to look at, just with all the different colors and just the composition. So well done, Mr. Cameraman. Another version of using a flamethrower to refresh stadium seats, this time on teal instead of red. Team teal for the win. Frick your red seats. Now, I feel as though, judging by the title, I have certainly missed out on something in terms of these red seats. Oh wait, hang on, what is he talking about? Oh, okay, now I certainly understand why I wasn't exactly catching what he's saying, but oh my goodness, look at that. That is incredible. I wonder how kind of chemistry-wise it works, because it just, well, it just kind of polishes them up. Look at that. That is so good. I mean, obviously this wouldn't be too recommended in terms of just holding a blowtorch, flamethrower, whatever you want to call it, next to a plastic seat, but I guess if this is kind of how the professionals do it, then you certainly won't want to be arguing with them, and it clearly gives a good results. Wow, you can even see that after it's cooled down a little bit, it goes back to being a little bit matte. I mean, I must admit, I do like the little bit of a shine that it brings out when you originally do it, but no, that is just an incredible way to kind of go accomplish cleaning up the seats, I guess. Because they go from such a sad excuse for a seat. I mean, I guess obviously you don't expect much for just public, just outdoor seats that have just been UV damaged for however many years, but really, that is just incredible. And like I said, I'd love to know how it actually gets rid of that, just, I don't even know what to call it, but patina all over the chair. Just what is it doing to be able to get such a good results just so quickly and easily? It takes literally a second of the torches being brushed over it, and then all of a sudden it's back to, well, it's probably better than new. And so look, even though I have obviously missed out on something in terms of these red seats, this green seat certainly gives me a pretty darn good idea of what it is. And really, I guess the main thing about why it looks so oddly satisfying is the fact that it's pretty similar to kind of just pressure washing. You know, you were just removing this old thing and just getting it back to brand new, regardless of whether it's with water, sand, or just a flamethrower. It doesn't really matter, but just restoring things is just always awesome. And so in saying that, I would love to see just an entire bank of seats, or even just an entire stadium before and after, kind of similar to the videos and the thumbnails that you see where someone just apparently turned this rusty old piece of iron into a beautiful copper knife or something like that. Because like I said, it does not matter what it is, and especially when you just get that perfect shine back, oh man, because everyone has experienced just these dull old seats, regardless of whether it gets cleaned every week, every day, or every, I don't know, 10 years, it is always going to eventually just be, like I said, UV damage to the max. So if I'm honest, as well as that just being oddly satisfying, I love the fact that these seats don't just go dull and then get chucked out. No, there is actually a way to kind of restore them to their former glory. And even though it might not be the most environmentally friendly way in terms of it's not like you can just use water to get it off, really it's a flamethrower which is going to be burning something at the same time compared to the amount of plastic that would get remade and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of a flamethrower, I'll certainly take that over a tiny new stadium worth of plastic. Fireflies at rural Pennsylvania field at dusk. Well, hang on a second, this kind of looks like a time lapse, but I kind of feel as though it isn't as well. What the hell? Why are they kind of just popping in and out? Or is it the camera? Or is it the eyes? Or what the hell is going on here? I mean, I guess it might be them just kind of turning off and on, but why would they be doing such a thing? I really don't know much about fireflies, I will be honest. But no, I feel as though I have never seen a more just, I don't even know, just wallpaper or a background or screensaver kind of video than this. Even the fact that you got the deer in the background, there's not mounds of pixels, so I would like it if it was a little bit more high res, but hey, it kind of takes away a little bit of the magic. You're just so entranced by the firefly just popping in and out the entire time, it doesn't even matter. And also just the fact that it can almost perfectly loop. I mean, I don't know really where it is. How long is this video? It's only like, I don't know, 15 seconds long or something. So I have definitely seen this video more than once, but really I wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, I guess I think I just saw it then, but really prior to actually looking for where the loop might be, I just had no idea where it was, or I hadn't seen it. So it's not like it just smacks you in the face, which is certainly just adds the entire another level to the oddly satisfying. You can just loop in the background forever, just no worries. And so what can I say? This entire video is just perfect in terms of an oddly satisfying video. You've got just the rolling hills in the background, and then the mist, and then a deer, and then fireflies, and it's at night, and it's at dusk in ultra wide. Like, what the hell? What else could you even ask for in a video for oddly satisfying? Really, not much else besides maybe a couple more pixels, but like I said, I don't even feel like you needed the fireflies, just kind of pop in and out. It's beautifully done. Just well done to this person, if it's original content, that is. But no, I just feel as though this is one of the posts that just explains itself. It doesn't even need a title or anything like that. It doesn't need me or no. You can just kind of look at it and just enjoy it for how oddly satisfying it is. It's not even oddly satisfying. You can clearly understand why it's just as satisfying. There's no two ways about it. And so really, considering the fact that I'm just left questioning how long does this go on for, how good does it look not through a camera, does it look better, does it look worse, just all of those kind of things, because really I would just love to see all these fireflies just emerging from the grass. So look, if anyone has actually experienced this before, or maybe they experience it every single night at dusk, that would just be an absolute gold mine of just oddly satisfying, because well, just look at it for goodness sake. It really is just such a good video that, man, like I said, it's just an absolute screensaver dream. Found this cracked rock that fits back together almost seamlessly. Let me just be the judge about how seamlessly this is going to be. I mean, also, oh, would you look at that? That has been incredibly cracked. I mean, I must say, it does look as though there's a little bit of an indentation there, so I guess this video could be faked in terms of someone just kind of cracking a rock until that cracks perfectly, but no, I'll kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say that they found this one. Really, if they did actually find it, then you would just be oddly satisfied in the moment, but then for us that we get to experience this video as well, oh man, I'm glad that they brought this, because yeah, just things like that are just perfectly seamlessly forming back together. Just brilliant. Whenever I see something like this though, I'm just always reminded of, I don't even know what to call it besides just perfect machinists, you know, just when one cylinder fits perfectly into a bored hole or something like that, and it just leaves it perfect, just completely, like no line, no atom, just nothing. I mean, this one actually has a line where these ones just seem to apparently have nothing. And look, I'm certainly not expecting this rock to be absolutely perfect to the thousandth of the millimeter, kind of reconnecting just to be a seamless join, but at the same time it would be kind of nice, because as good as it is and as oddly satisfying as it is, there was just always going to be that little bit of room for improvement, I feel as though, with someone like this. And look, to be honest, even though it is the same with all of these posts, really the fact that we are just living vicariously and don't actually get to kind of make that connection makes a massive difference. If I was actually the one being able to kind of put these two halves of the rocks back together, I feel as though I'd just be so much more satisfied than being able to view it on here. I mean, don't get me wrong, and obviously a whole bunch of people agree, because it is definitely a satisfying thing to look at, but just the feeling and the entire thing as it just suddenly just perfectly, almost just probably I can imagine just snaps back into place. Oh, that'd be just perfect. And hey, I guess if nothing else, what it really does show you is just how simplistic things can be so satisfying. You know, it's literally just a rock. It's nothing fancy. It's no firefly. I mean, I guess the fireflies were pretty simple as well, but you know, it's not some perfectly machined billet of steel or titanium or anything like that. No, it's just a rock that this person suddenly found on the side of the road, in a valley, whatever it may be, just found a rock. So I guess in saying that, similar to what I said with in terms of the train station, really there are just probably so many things all around the world that we just kind of miss because we're not looking for them, we're not looking for the right perspective, whatever it may be, and this is definitely one of them. There are probably a million rocks out there that have the same thing as this, but we're just unable to see them, or they've fallen too far apart. So hey, at least we do have people like this just to actually kind of look out for these kind of things. They found the rock, they were lucky enough to find the rock, and then at least for us, we could all be grateful that they had to kind of the presence of mind to share it with us, because look, like I said, it's just a nice, simple, oddly satisfying video, isn't it? Teapot quality check. Oh, here we go. I don't know if I've seen this video before or something just like it, but look at that. No, that is just very, very bad. You can't just having a stream like that, you know, that is just so poor. Look at that. Let's just see how good the design can get in terms of the fluid dynamics. Look at that. That is just getting really good. No splashing, nothing like that. Obviously, when you get a little bit higher, you're going to start getting a little bit of a splashback, but no, you can certainly just tell the difference when suddenly you have a teapot giving you a laminar flow compared to one that's just giving you, I don't know, a garden hose. And really, let's be honest, unless you were some kind of teapot connoisseur, I don't feel as though there is any way you'd be able to tell, but hey, I'm sure someone out there is probably able to look at a teapot and just know exactly what its kind of poor characteristics are going to be like just without even using it. I don't really know how useful that superpower is unless you were just some tea master, but then again, when they are compared just back to back to back to back to back like this, you can certainly appreciate just how good one is compared to the other one. And really, thinking about it, this is probably one of the only times that having less audio is more satisfying. Like I said, you don't want to be having all of those splashes and everything. Just a virtually laminar flow that is coming out of these perfect teapots is just so much more satisfying just to hear, because you're not hearing anything, you're not hearing giving all these rough splashes or anything like that. No, you don't want any of that just when you're pouring. You just want this perfect pour into a nice big bowl. And given the fact that we progress all the way through the teapots until you can't hear anything anymore, you certainly can hear or just at least see the difference if nothing else. So I guess once again we have a video here that just backs up my statement about just how the most simplistic things can actually be super satisfying, you know, whether it be a rock, whether it be a teapot, whether it be a train station, whatever it may be. When you actually do showcase it in the right way, it can be so satisfying. You know, like if we only saw the last one, then you just be going, well, hang on a second, I don't really get it. But when you see how different it really can be from the very bad to the excellent one, oh, it just makes such the difference. And it is the same thing from the train station. If that person probably took it from eye height, then it certainly wouldn't have had the same effect as just taking it from a nice down low approach. So look, even though I am questioning whether or not I've seen this video before, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. If I'm questioning it, then it doesn't really matter either way, because I'm just really don't know it that well. But regardless of whether or not I have seen it before, it has definitely just caught me off guard. Well, not off guard, but definitely just caught me in the oddly satisfying moment again, because hey, you cannot not be kind of just satisfied by the excellent teapot if nothing else, can you? So I guess I just have to say thanks to this person for just enlightening me to an entirely different world that I never would have known about otherwise, because well, I don't really know many people that just kind of study teapots like this, but hey, considering the fact that you can go from an excellent to a very, very bad, then really there was obviously a massive range there. And so hey, maybe I'll just have to kind of keep an eye out for this. I don't really know if I've ever heard of taking a teapot for a test drive before you buy it, but hey, maybe that's just something that I have to look into, because no one surely wants to be getting a very bad teapot when you just know that there is that kind of excellence out there. Engineering design applied on a front gate. Oh, is this going to be? Oh, it is. I don't know whether I've seen it on just kind of just covered doors or whatnot, but this is just such a cool contraption. Look at that, just the way it folds back and forward. No worries, you know, it is a little bit kind of over the top, I must say, but it definitely looks cool. Like, you know, to get all those components working that seamlessly at that scale surely wouldn't be that easy. I mean, maybe the bigger you go, actually the easier it is because you have greater tolerances. But then, hey, I guess regardless of that fact, it clearly works quite well, and so it is definitely just an oddly satisfying kind of front gate. I mean, I can only imagine that it isn't the cheapest front gate in the world. I mean, maybe if you can do it yourself, you can do it pretty cheaply. But by the time you buy all the hinges and kind of cut it out and reinforce the gate to be able to do that, I can only imagine that it's just a little bit more expensive than just kind of the standard 2 sliding doors or however you want to do it. But if you have the money to do it, even though, like I said, it might be a little bit over the top in most circumstances, and the novelty of it might wear off pretty quickly, but I guess if you do have the money to do it, then it is certainly worthwhile in terms of a neat party trick, if nothing else. So I guess the most satisfying thing about the entire thing is just how little effort it seems to be able to move. You know, once it gets over its tipping point, it just looks as though it just kind of folds itself out of the way, and it just kind of requires a little bit of a push or a little bit of a pull at the start, and then just out it goes. So I guess in saying that, that is just another tick towards this entire system. You know, you barely need any effort. That guy certainly doesn't look as though he's 20 anymore, and so I guess you never know. Maybe he's just planning for his future, going, I don't want to be kind of lifting and moving and tugging and pulling a heavy gate around. I'm just going to install these just super easy things to be able to move out of the way. All I will need is just 2 fingers and the weight of my arm just to be able to close the gate. And really, there aren't too many gates I feel as though you'd be able to say that with, and so it is definitely all satisfying, but just kind of practical at the same time. I mean, in saying that, I wouldn't mind actually seeing it in reverse and just seeing how easy it is to do the other way, because it almost seems as though you'd have to lift it more. But hey, what am I talking about? If it works one way that easily, then really I wouldn't be surprised if it works just as easily the other way. I mean, in saying that, I don't really know if a traditional gate latch is going to work too well on this one. I mean, maybe it does, maybe it just would stop it from kind of turning in and out, but really I feel as though this gate is probably going to be a little bit more of a deterrent than an actual lockable kind of fortress or anything like that. So look, I do absolutely love this entire contraption, and really as a gate it just works so well. And even the fact that you can even then just put a little bit of flashing around the top and just conceal the entire contraption, or really it's not a contraption, it's just 2 pivot points, but it just works so well, and you can certainly understand why it is definitely oddly satisfying. Puddle reflecting lights which look like mini fireworks when the rain drops into it. Oh, what the hell, this certainly doesn't look like any lights I've ever seen. I mean, maybe you're just talking about, I don't know what they're called, but just like a star projector or something like that, but that just looks completely weird. I mean, I guess it also does look cool considering it does look like fireworks, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around what the hell is going on here. I mean, looking into the reflection a little bit more, it almost looks as though they're in a barn or some kind of just skeleton of a structure right there. And so really, I'm just wondering where the hell this is, because it seems as though it's kind of covered, but then at the same time there's puddles and things around. And so what kind of just random light show are we talking about here? But hey, it is definitely satisfying to look at, because even though I don't feel as though this beats the other one, this one is definitely along the lines of some kind of wallpaper screensaver kind of thing, because, well, I mean, obviously we don't get to see it loop too well because it doesn't go on for long enough, but hey, at the same time it looks like some kind of funky filter that you're putting on the night sky just to give it fireworks. So really, I have no idea what it looks like, but it just doesn't look like what it actually is. Especially if you just kind of just block out the other bits, there is no way that anyone would be able to tell what the hell they were looking at if they were just looking at the puddle. And I feel as though even if they did figure out that they were looking into a puddle of water, they certainly would not figure out that the fireworks were coming from raindrops. So look, even though this one is definitely pretty to look at, I don't feel as though I'm getting the same level as oddly satisfying as some of the other poses, especially because kind of the title ruined it. I feel as though if we were left in the dark a little bit more, you would actually go, hang on a second, I have no idea what it is, but it's cool. But when you just kind of know it's a dirty puddle with a little bit of a light reflection, you're gonna go, oh, well, is that it? I mean, I guess it does depend on whether you're looking at it from a glass half full or a glass half empty, but at the same time, I don't know, I just feel as though this one isn't as oddly satisfying as some of the other ones that we have seen, even though it is definitely cool with the entire gradient. You know, you get to see the purples, the greens, the yellows if you kind of panned up a little bit more. Really, I reckon I would have loved it more, and it would have been more satisfying if they started just cropped in, you know, you can only see the reflection and then they just slowly pull out, revealing the entire thing. I reckon that would have been a lot more satisfying, because you go, oh wait, hang on a second, that's what's going on here, besides just kind of going, oh well, I guess the title ruined it, didn't it? But hey, look, considering the fact that obviously there has been so many people that have actually enjoyed this and just find this so oddly satisfying, then hey, I can't argue with the numbers, but I can just argue with my perspective. And so maybe you think I'm completely crazy, and let me know if you think I am, but I just don't really know if this one just is as deserving as what the kind of accolades that has been given. And so now finally, for the top of the month for oddly satisfying, we have imprinting designs on ceramics. Is this going to be laser printed, or how is this going to work? Wait, what are we looking at? Oh wait, goodness, I thought that massive glob was a ceramic, but no, wait, whoa, this is just crazy. This is certainly not what I was expecting. I just need to see this again because, well, one, that material is just incredible. The fact that it can just be compacted and just all squished over and over and over again, that is just awesome. But I certainly did not expect that that was how they're going to be doing ceramic painting. I mean, I guess it makes sense because I certainly have no other ideas about how you would go about painting on not a flat surface and just on a regular kind of shaped bowl. But I would certainly have absolutely no idea what was going on here if I just was shown the first half of the video with the transfer of the paint from the flat to the squishy bit. Because like I said, even though I have no idea how else you'd be doing this, really, it is just an incredible material and just an incredible way to go about doing such a thing. And so to be honest, I feel as though that is actually one of the major reasons why this has been voted top of the month, because even though it is very satisfying to see it kind of squish down into the bowl, at the same time, just the fact that people are going, oh, what the hell is going on here? Oh wow, that's what's going on here. That just is definitely just adds to the entire satisfaction of the entire thing, just kind of discovering an entirely new process, I guess. And really, that is actually what I find most impressive about this entire thing, is that someone thought this up and actually put it into action. You know, they went, well, I don't even know where to start in terms of materials that are that squishy and just how you transfer paint like that, but someone was able to think about all the steps that were going to be needed just to be able to paint all these bowls. You know, obviously you can't be having people just hand paint every single bowl if you want to be making them as a mass production kind of circumstance. And even though doing it this way, it might take away a little bit of the heart of the entire thing. You know, if someone actually did hand paint this entire piece, it might be a little bit more, well, you can just appreciate the craftsmanship when compared to just a blob doing the work. But like I said, if nothing else, you certainly do have to appreciate the fact that someone thought about how to do this, and this is the process that they come up with, because the mechatronics and everything behind it are just pretty cool, if I'm honest. And so really, I just have so many questions about the entire thing. How do you make sure that it's all uniform and lines up? How do you make sure that the paint distribution is correct? How do you design this material? How often do you need to change it out? And also, if I'm honest, I would just love to know what the material feels like, because it just looks as though it can be so solid when it's condensed, but it also just kind of jiggles around. It's quite strange. It's almost like oobleck or something like that. And so look, even though I don't feel as though it quite tops the Fireflies, this one is definitely one that I could just watch on repeat, just over and over and over again, just kind of, well, I guess if nothing else, just trying to answer my own questions. But I think if I was actually given the chance to go to this factory and witness this firsthand, I would 100% take that opportunity, because for one, there is no way that I'd be able to pass up such an oddly satisfying opportunity. And so I guess theoretically, if that did ever happen, it would just be the absolutely top of the one for oddly satisfying, because I'd get to witness it firsthand and get my questions answered. Who would have known that it is just that simple? You just smush something onto something and then you smush that thing onto something else. It is just that simple to be oddly satisfying, isn't it? But anyway, in saying that, that is going to do it for the top of the month for oddly satisfying. So thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to do the YouTube algorithmic things down below. Let me know if you had a favorite post of any of these. Other than that, we check out awesome posts all over Reddit, so make sure to check out some of the other videos out now. Or hey, maybe even just want to consider subscribing so don't miss another one of these in the future. But all in all, have a good one and see ya.